active duty service members, student borrowers, and families all across this country. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Warren. Senator Daines from Montana is recognized.
Chairman Brown, thank you. Dr. Chopra, thanks for appearing before the committee today. I continue to hear from folks across my state of Montana about the adverse impact your agency's actions are having, from increased compliance costs to one-size-fits-all mandates that just don't work in rural communities. It appears to me the CFPB, under your leadership, has become a political arm of the Biden administration, rushing through progressive actions that in many cases have bipartisan opposition here in Congress. One example of this is the 1071 rule, which I'll get to momentarily. But first, I want to start with credit card late fees. I saw Senator Warren was asking some of the same questions. In February, CFPB proposed a rule to reduce late fees that credit card issuers can charge customers. But your own data at CFPB shows that 74% of customers make payments on time and will not see any positive impact from this proposal. They will, however, see potential impact on increased annual fees, reduced rewards, lower credit limits, because prudential regulators require banks to offset the credit risk so as to maintain safety and soundness. Further, I have serious concerns that this rule will lead to more consumers paying bills late, which will in turn negatively impact their future creditworthiness. In other words, we're not going to, they're going to stop or lower the penalties paid for those who aren't paying bills on time in trade-off for increasing costs or reducing rewards for those who do pay on time. So my question is, why would your agency proceed with a rule that would potentially cause hardship to those it actually seeks to help?
So respectfully, that's actually not how the credit card business works. The way credit card underwriting works is it's an individualized interest rate. So it's underwritten based on your own individual data. They don't have one price or one rate that they give everyone and cross-subsidize amongst them. Our goal is to make sure that the Card Act is being followed. The Card Act prohibits unreasonable or disproportionate penalty fees. Our proposed rule, which we are still working through, allows a company, an issuer, to recoup. And as Senator Warren just mentioned, they just have to be able to show the math. And of course, it does not take away the ability of the card issuer to lower their credit limit if they're late, to increase their interest rate, or if they never pay, to sue them.
So let me ask you, as you say, you're still in the deliberative phase, perhaps, on this rule. To what extent did your agency engage with the prudential regulators while crafting this proposal?
Well, we certainly communicate and consult with the prudential regulators on these types of rules. In fact, I believe we may even be required to. There's many ways in which various banking regulations intersect with each other.
What kind of feedback did you get from those regulators?
I'm not going to, I need to really check, because I'm sure we talk to each individual one as well as in a group. But I would generally say,
do they have any concerns about it generally, or?
I would need to check. I'm happy to answer for the record for you. But as I said before, because the credit card industry doesn't have one price, it does underwriting. I think the effect that you're mentioning is unlikely.
But do you have like a top-line summary? I mean, you said you have to check. I mean, it's pretty important feedback from the prudential regulators.
Yeah, I think the overall feedback is that it would not have an impact on safety and soundness of financial institutions.
Do you have any adverse effect on some credit card holders?
Well, I think, again, our consultation with them, I think, is on safety and soundness, but I'm happy to check and answer more for the record. And just so you know, I'm with you. I don't want to create a situation where, some people are incentivized to not pay, but we also need to make sure that this is reasonable. When I talk to smaller credit card issuers, they're not building a business model where they're rooting for their customers to be late.
Let me switch gears on the 1071, and thank you, Dr. Chopra. I've got serious concerns with the impact of your regulation of small businesses. In fact, something I hear pretty much across the board from folks back home, virtually unilaterally. I'm not alone, because, as you know, a bipartisan majority of both the House and the Senate voted recently to scrap the rule. The final rule makes certain data reporting requirements optional, but you've also noted that low response rates could lead to supervisory problems for lenders. My question is this: I know that many small businesses are not going to want to report this data. So what will you do to ensure that lenders aren't penalized solely due to a low response rate?
Yeah, that's not the intent. And in fact, no one is forced to complete this information. They have an absolute right to refuse it. But of course, if you think about it, we have to make sure that it's actually being provided and not saying, oh, you can just throw this out. So we're really trying to be reasonable about it.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator Daines. I believe no one else is coming, so thanks, Senator Daines. I have one more question, then we'll